Now let's make sure. Yes, baby. We're in, baby. We're in, baby. Hey. I'm like, do I have? I do. I have deodorant on my shirt. Oh, well. Dude. 2025 was a year of no journaling, pretty much, compared to how I used to be. The past 2 weeks have been crazy.
The quality of her handwriting is impressive. I don't
agree with that, but let's let the people decide.
It's gorgeous. I mean, it's legible.
It's gorgeous or just legible. Actually, I would say,
if I can't read the words,
it's gorgeous, not legible. Because sometimes I add extra loops and shit because I write in script.
Oh, I like that though.
Okay. Anyway, so much to talk about, so much to cover. How you feeling? Welcome back. I feel like it's been forever. It hasn't. Little crackhead energy to start. Jeez.
I know. Let's take a deep breath.
Just so excited to see you. I'm so excited to see all of you.
Yes. Hi, beloveds. Welcome back.
You know what I was thinking about this morning?
Huh.
We may not have like large numbers comparatively, right?
Mm-hmm.
But imagine telling our story, talking to a room that had 100 people in it. That's a lot of people.
It is a lot of people.
So thank you. Not saying it's only 100 or it is 100. I'm just saying like on average, let's say. But thank you for listening. Because we ain't getting paid. We're just doing this for the love of it. And we appreciate you being here. 100 people is a lot of people to be talking to.
I feel like I have so many topics and I don't know where to begin. And I'm curious where we're going to overlap and what's been coming through.
Yeah.
Always the fun thing to find out.
Mm-hmm. Such a cute dress, girl.
Thanks. Feels good to adorn myself. This year I'm bringing in romance, and not in a sense of what we think romance is from a capitalistic, patriarchal standpoint, but more of like I'm just going to show up and be my radiant, glowing self and things are going to fall into place. Like I've done enough work. I've laid a lot of foundations. I just want to show up and let things play out. That's the main character, whimsical, romantical energy I'm coming in with this year.
I had done an exploration on romance for myself maybe 2 years ago or something. And then this 2025 was my pink year. I really wanted to be gentle, girly, adornment. Like I feel like I was you last year, you know?
Ours is different though.
But it is different.
Yeah,
it is different.
Yeah. I'm not pink, but
regardless, I found that for me, romance was about the surprise.
Yes.
Not what the surprise was, but the feeling of, oh, beautiful, loving. Like I'm surprised that something is so beautiful and lovely. And I feel that when you're doing that for yourself, then that happens through like following your intuition and enacting your free will. Because you're just like, oh, I just thought of this thing. I'm going to do it. And then you do it and you're like, wow, that was beautiful.
Yep.
And like, that's how you build the romance because it's a little surprise and a treat. So I'm very excited for you. A little romance.
Thank you.
Little bad romance, but good romance. I also have a lot to share. So I also don't, I mean, I kind of know where to start for me, but I kind of want you to start. I want to see, unless you don't know where to go.
I know where to go because I have taken the last 2 weeks of not working to completely reset my nervous system, rest, reflect. And I didn't do any special rituals whatsoever, but I really did focus on turning my life into a ritual, which feels more sustainable for me because I think I do the practice, but in different ways where I don't call it out. I don't know. There's something about I need to be creative. And then like that block or something that happens. So I'm like, screw it. I'm going to just like make my whole life this like ritualistic offering of being my best self and showing up so I can be of service. And I was definitely burning at whatever the saying.
Both ends.
Tail ends. Candle wick ends. What is it?
Both ends. Burning at both ends. Burning a candle at both ends, you know?
All right.
Because it burns faster.
I've been burning. Yeah. Well, and it's funny because I'm getting like fire as a big theme for the end of the Year of the Snake and beginning of the Horse. I think I also found myself in this constant state of like, what's real? What's reality? What's my reality? And it's been good to kind of check out of the collective and really tune in to myself and my truth right now. Turns out everything's real. Everything's as real as you make it. And I think accepting that allows you to have more oversight or a perception of control of your reality.
Ooh.
But yeah, I'm just feeling like you look left, you look right, and you're like, what?
That's not what I thought you were going to say. What?
Yeah, who, what, why, where?
Yeah. No, I get that completely. It does kind of align with a lot of what I wanted to start talking about, which was also my 2.5 weeks off of work and the rest and reflection that I did. And I feel like if that's what you're starting with, then it's probably the same feeling that I'm having and the same feeling that I think a lot of people are having this is the not first time, but like deepest time, I guess, that I've like elongated the rest, elongated the reflection.
Yes.
You know, like I didn't sit there like your girl loves a reflection. Your girl loves a journal, rereading her journals. Don't get me wrong. But it would still be like, okay, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to read through, I'm going to skim through 2025 and or like last year, I was like, let me look through all my pictures and pick out the highlights from each month, right? We spent a day journaling, which is a lot. But that's exactly it. It's
you and Andrew?
Yeah. It's a lot that you're doing. It's a lot on your nervous system. It's a lot to integrate. So this year, I did do a lot more specific rituals than I normally do, which had led me to having more breath and pause and reflection and rest. Like for fuck's sake, my entire break was ceremony in the morning and at night, or like ritual or practice in the morning at night. And in the middle, every other day was either I am not out of my pajamas and I am binge watching a show for 12 straight hours on the couch and not getting up. And then the next day would be like, okay, I'm going to like do chores, wedding plan, work towards stuff for school a little bit. And then the next day, rot. Like, and it was only I don't want to say bare minimum, but you know, like only what I had to do on those days. Only what felt like I was capable of doing. Very, very long periods of rest. Very, very, very long periods of integration. And a large chunk of what I want to talk about today is, yes, the energy of 2026, because Happy New Year, it's 2026. But also the importance of, especially I think everyone identified with the Year of the Snake. So if you're gonna be getting into the Year of the Horse, you have to understand that doesn't start until February. And this month of January is still deep rest and reflection and integration and grounding. You know, there's so much I want to talk about in this end time with a sprinkle of what 2026 is going to feel like. And then next month, when it's February, when it is the Year of the Fire Horse, is when I really want to talk more about like that piece of it a little bit more. That's what came through for me.
Bada bing, bada boom. Let's do it.
Yeah. So how was your, I'm interested to know, because I can talk about my ceremonies and what that looks like. And I want to, because I invite people to still do it for the end of January. It doesn't have to be like during the eclipse season, not eclipse, solstice and New Year's Eve. Like you don't have to do that shit. Like you still have time. And I think it's important. But I'm interested to know, how has being a living ritual or a living practice looked like for you in this time of rest? Because I feel like a lot of people can identify, I'm going to, like you said, I'm going to create, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And that's my living ritual. But you did it through rest.
It was the greatest form of releasing guilt for not doing things the way I thought they needed to be done or when they should be done. It just happened. Things just happen. It got done. And eliminating that pressure, I think, is really what I need to go into this new year, starting off work on a different note, because I just gave way too much. And I am here for the reciprocity, but at the same time, the idea of overgiving, it doesn't serve anyone. Yeah. And facing that part of me, I think, was sort of a practice of acceptance that I don't have to like be and do it all and be a part of it. And like, I will be in the places and rooms where my medicine is best received. And I think it's the ultimate act of trust to go about life in that way. But it felt so good. I didn't do anything New Year's Eve. I watched a little Andy Cohen and Anderson Cooper. Like,
I saw clips from that. That was funny.
Always funny, right? And we loved his blue puffer Andy's. But I went to bed and I felt great. And, even around like rituals or traditions around the holidays that I think we're all just tired of. And what it's really brought up for me is patterns that we feel, as humans, we recognize them. We want some form of predictability. But I think that there's this new way of going about life and traditions and holidays where we aren't doing the same old thing. And it even kind of extends into like, oh, something similar is happening that, politically that like happened in World War or like in Panama, or they're just using that playbook. But I'm like, what if we start to shift the script and not follow traditions and the patterns that feel familiar? And I think that's what's really hard, and where you kind of get that deja vu kind of intuitive hit of like, this feels familiar, but it's new to me. And I think that you do have to go through a period of rest in order for your nervous system to have this reboot of new experiences and a new way of being.
So for you, was that a lot of just like straight up physical rest, or was it also like more tending to and nurturing, like massages or facials? Like, was it a little bit of both? Was it leaning more towards one or the other?
I mean, I'm always going to be getting massages. I started off my break with a phenomenal massage. I love my massage therapist so much.
We need to talk about that because I want to get one.
Hallie, I mean, I love you. And we just have this like beautiful dance, and she loves working on me too because she does a lot of myofascial. So my body just like relaxes with her and it feels so like safe and like, yeah, I hope everyone listening has a massage therapist that they adore the way that I adore Hallie.
I don't.
Well, let's get on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, good questions. I'm like, where anything come up for you?
Like about what you were talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think that moving away from traditions in many forms, I feel like a lot of what I got for 2026 energy is this idea that, we had the year of the snake. It was really like shedding this layer of skin. And it was also a 9-year, so that wrapped some shit up. And now we're in a 1 year, or I saw someone talking about it as a 10-year. in the sense of like co-creation with source as 0 and like binary code. And I was like, oh.
Traditional numerologists would not agree with that. Like I can feel them like, that's not it. That's not, but
well,
like,
she was saying, she was saying like numerology is 1.
Right.
But you can also think of it as a 10-year because you're mostly co-creating.
And isn't that funny because the next year would be an 11-year, but also a 2-year, and it technically is a 2-year. And so it kind of, I don't know, represents maybe these like split timelines and worlds and realities we're all coexisting in. That is it a 2 or an 11? Depends on your perception of it.
Yeah. But I feel like what I was getting is there was a lot of destruction in 2025. A lot of like, we needed to break from that and sacred rage. And we talked a lot about being the light warrior and all this.
Yeah.
And similar to how we talked about, I think it was last episode with hope and how rage.
We really talked about hope.
We needed it. How rage like cleared the way for hope to be like planted. And I'm getting that 2026 is first going to be about like, okay, well, what individually it's going to be like, what is this new skin? Like when I don't have like the sentence starters that say, oh, I used to do this. Even though you're identifying it as the past, you're still identifying it. And they're like, nope, just like this room of me cleaning out this fucking space, fresh, sterile baby. Like you are brand spanking new right now.
It feels really good in this space.
Thank
like
you.
I can breathe a little deeper, you know?
So what the energy is more going to be about is what is something new you can create? What are the new traditions? What are the new things in place? How can we work cyclically instead of like linear? And instead of what 2025 needed to be, which was just, I have no idea what it can be because all I see is how bad it is right now. And I need to break down how bad it is. Now we see the truth is going to be 2026. Like being in your truth, seeing the truth, finding truth, like, but not in like this like obsessive longing way, but just like inner sacral, like sacred truth. So finding that and then being like, okay, now that the path is clear, now that everything is gone, what can I visualize here? What systems would work instead, as opposed to economic blackouts so that way we're breaking their systems, or strikes so that way we're doing this, or showing up to ICE in this way. And all of those are great and let's keep doing those things. But 2026 is going to be more about, and now what? So then what? What are we doing instead? And I think that's why January still is really important to continue the rest and reflection, because as I saw someone say, it's like the snake's tail whip. Like they're going to send you like 1 or 2 more things to just like, hey, before you fucking take off with the fire horse, before you even get there, because whatever you are right now is what's running this next 9-year cycle. So instead of rushing to that, sit in that last little tail swing and really anchor into not only integrating and processing and letting go the last 9 years, but also anchoring into who am I in this space in between? Who am I when I have let go of everything I once was and I am not yet who I am going to be? What is my energy right fucking now? Because I cannot manifest, decide, intent, create from, like, I can't create that next step if I don't know what step I'm on right now.
Yeah.
So that is what a lot of this break has been for me. And I see that coexistence for the both of us, right? This rest, that reflect, this letting go, and this integrating of what was, so that way we can just fully be present and enjoy where we are right now, this space of in between. I'm not rushing to 2026 right now.
Yeah.
I know I'm technically there, but I'm not rushing to the horse.
Something you said is something I've heard a lot on social media, and I want to bring it up and kind of dissect it a little bit because it brings up so much fear and more of like the shame and guilt. And it's the like, who you are is who you're going to, or who you're going to be in 9 years, and like all that. There's a lot of talk like that in the spiritual community, and it gives me the ick. It makes me feel the feels, but I'm also wanting to just kind of call out that you have a choice in every moment that you are able to breathe and be alive, to change and put yourself on the path of potential. And so I don't want anyone feeling like, oh, I didn't do this ritual, or I didn't do this thing by a certain time, and then I'm off the trail, or I'm going to have to wait for the next cycle. So I may as well continue doing this really destructive path for me that keeps me off my soul's trajectory, because you get to choose. And so I just want to reiterate, I know I say it every episode, your choice, baby.
Yeah.
And I think more than ever when we hear of our choice, especially as women, being threatened, I am inspired to live even more fully in my choices.
Yeah.
So I know you didn't mean it like that. I just wanted to call that out because
I'm glad that you did. I'm glad that you did, because the way that I picture it is, imagine you're at the top of a spiral. Okay. And you're at the precipice of a complete like root-like branch, like going in a million directions. And this is the precipice of you making the butterfly effect for picking your next spiral. However, if I'm on this spiral to the left and I'm recognizing it's not the path I want to be on, and it's still a 9-year cycle, a 9-year spiral up, you do have free will to shift into the next spiral. For me, it's just, here's an easier entry point is the way that I look at it.
I love that.
You know what I
because
mean?
You almost have to like hop to another spiral.
Right, exactly.
And it's
you need more
painful and hard.
Exactly. You need way more momentum to kind of leap from one spiral to the next, as opposed to right now being in a crossroads.
When
you know
you're
what
not
I mean?
like on the right path, or the path of like your highest alignment, it is so hard to find the momentum.
Yeah.
And I've been in that energy for a minute now.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of myself for having the momentum to continue on. But I'm like, I feel that.
Yeah. And that's why I'm glad you brought it up, because absolutely, I saw this thing, it's called the chaos pendulum, right? And it basically explains the butterfly effect, that if you start from a different position on this pendulum, you will always get something different. You can never get it twice, because it's chaos, right? It's branching off everywhere. So it's the concept that your choices matter so much, because it does affect everything after it. But then it's equally that your choice doesn't really matter at all, because you could just make a new one. So I think that's what moments like this are, when the collective puts so much attention and intention on something, especially that is aligned with the planet's energy, with the solar system and how cycles work.
Yeah.
Planetarian.
I like that.
Planetarian.
From the vegetarian.
Well,
vegan.
You just have that extra momentum. But sometimes I also think it's important to know that like you're not bad or wrong or should hold shame or guilt for ever choosing the wrong spiral, because I ultimately believe there's never a wrong choice when it comes to your own personal growth, not towards others. There are wrong choices in how we behave towards others.
The older you get, the more it involves other soul ties, especially when procreating or getting married, or contractual ties of any kind, earthly or akashically. Yeah. So I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, it is just like a moment of in between. And I think that's what all of this month has been. And I think the remaining month is this moment of in between, this moment of breath, this moment of pause. And that's why I did do those ceremonies that I'd love to share. Yeah.
But I don't know if now's a good time to share, or if you had something to bounce off of.
Well, I just like wrote a ton of little one-liners where I'm like, we could go down that avenue. We could go down that. And like, is there anything I have?
Oh, yeah.
Do I have any? I think the biggest thing that kind of sums up what I was speaking to was that you are not required to suffer in order to belong. And I know I've talked about this before. We've talked about showing that we care, and like that kind of outdated form of empathy where you have to to suffer to show you care.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that this is continuing on in a new light in 2026.
Yeah. I think that's one of the patterns we can let go of, is that the suffering to know we care. Okay, so I'm a very logical processor, as we all know. So I need to journal, I need to sit with, I need to ceremony, I need to do all this. So what I want to do is I want to share the practice that I did that you can take if you'd like completely. You can take pieces of it. You can completely change it. I found that it was so extremely helpful for me as a logical processor and a verbal and like linguistic processor to have this moment of integration. So it started with that ritual that I was telling you about that I think you are doing with the burning your intentions. So this Yule practice that I did this year with some friends was you write down 12 intentions or wishes or hopes or manifestations, whatever the fuck you want to call it, things you want to bring into your reality, fold them all up separately. And for the 12 nights of Yule, every night you randomly pick one, you don't read it, you just burn it, and you trust that the universe is going to take care of that for you until the last one. And that one you don't burn, you open, and that is your job that you have to take care of. The universe is going to take care of the 11. You have one to take care of. That's your job. You focus on that. So we did that. It was really simple. Like we burned the first one as everyone did. We like cheers it was just like an easy winter solstice kind of thing. But I was using it as also a reminder of like, I need to like release and surrender. So every morning before I would burn the paper, I would let go of something else to make room for that thing in my life. So I would spend each day, each morning on a month, and I would look through the pictures in my phone for like highlights and write those down. I would read through my journal so that way any like growth or realization that I came to. And then I would take something from my vision board, the flowers, the corner that says like love and has a ring, and I'd reflect on it and how that showed up. And I have never integrated so deeply or been able to feel so many blessings regardless of what happened as I did with this practice. Especially the vision board piece where I was like, okay, here's the $100. And I was like, whoa, I have never been more abundant in my life than I was in 2025.
What do you mean? Here's the $100.
There's a fake $100 bill on my vision board.
What?
So doing that practice kind of left a little room, and then I'd burn this intention and be like, here, I made room for that.
Yeah.
So you guys take care of that. And that felt so extremely powerful. And I pulled a card for each one, and seeing my journey of the year going from like ancestral healing and DNA and karma and inner child work. And then it's like, oh, earth magic and blessings and abundance and joy and power and solitude. And I'm like, and it was so fucking spot on. And to pull the card at the end felt really powerful too, because I was like, here's all my intuitive hits. Here's all my understanding. Here's the validation from that card. So that was a really beautiful practice. And then it allowed me, even into January, not think about 2026, not set goals because it's January 1st and I have to go to the gym every day. Nope, we're still in winter. We're still in hibernation. So it allows me to just keep breathing and integrating. And then the second ceremony I did, which I'll tell you, and then I'll tell you, and then we'll cut it out. Well, whatever. Was Darren and I got together and we did a cord cutting, but for the 9-year cycle. And instead of thinking about the individual people or the individual things or situations or narratives, all we did was say anything from 2017, anything from 2018, and tied strings around like a Mayday pole. So it was the candle and then just strings hanging from it in all directions. And we just lit that, and we were just like, okay, we're done. Like everything can just kind of melt off, which of course, my candle took fucking forever, but I did cut all the cords. And I feel like doing those two things, or taking time for yourself to really just, whatever it means to you, to not only integrate 2027, but just
2027. You are so obsessed with
2027. 2025, and not even just the 9-year cycle, but just everything behind this point. For me,
I love that.
I'm like, nope, fresh, new.
See ya.
And I literally cleared everything behind me except for my ancestral cord. And I was like, I want that stronger and upgraded right now, so that way we're connected. And that, like, and talking about the suffering, so the last thing I'll say, I promise, is my focus is to really come out of 2025, this 9-year cycle, this lifetime, this lineage, everything, with nothing but wisdom. I don't need to carry the emotion. I don't need to carry the habit. I don't need to carry the pain. I don't need to carry nothing, just the wisdom. So I cleared everything, but made that cord really string to ancestral lineage for wisdom, and wisdom only.
Love.
Well, thank you for listening. Those were my 2 like big day-long, week-long rituals that I did to kind of like help integrate. And it was really helpful for me.
Love it.
Yeah.
Wait, what was your one intention?
Oh, hold on.
Yeah, you didn't say that, did you?
It was to bring more play, laughter, and creation to the year. And I was like, yay, okay. I love that that's mine, not like the lump sum of money or the wedding, or the rest of the universe will take care of all the hard ones the universe is going to take care of. But I just get to play. So I'm like,
hell yeah. Yeet. All right. Speaking of play, like, I was going to be sarcastic and bring up something that was not playful, but
now you got to say it.
Well, no, I was going to talk about like World War III, living in fear, AI. The usual things that inundate us when we try to seek information of what's happening with the collective.
Yes. I've been really thinking about that as well. Like I said, like truth, right? Like you talked about finding your truth. I'm talking about finding your truth. I'm getting in 2026, it is about finding your truth, finding the truth. And AI is making it really, really challenging. And I think there are some that are really obvious where you're just like, okay, no. And there are others, like when I was talking to you and I sent that video to you, where I am watching every video I watch and I am listening to the cadence of their voice. I am looking at their facial expressions. I am looking at what's happening behind them, because it may be AI and it may have a good message, but if it's AI, I kind of don't want to consume it at all. And I don't know if that's good, bad, or indifferent, but right now I don't want to.
Oh, God. I'm so curious what we said in our AI episode, because it was
the first one when we loved it
long ago. Yeah.
When we were like, we love ChatGPT.
Well, and what sucks
grow and
is
change.
Exactly that. I mean, it's a mirror ultimately. It was cool because we were like, oh, we can program our consciousness into this technology.
Yeah.
And then it was like, wow, like all the tech bros everywhere were like, you're going to be behind if you don't use this technology.
Yeah.
And so much was forced upon us without consent.
Yeah.
So first off, our consent. And then really it's a slap in the face to how we've been treating the earth and exploiting resources. And AI is really like the monster villain in representing all of our exploitation. But it is happening in so many different areas. So I feel like people need to not just focus on AI. It's happening with their cell phones, their technology, their electric vehicles, and it's not always us as the consumer's fault, but we need to be informed and we need to be made aware. But those informing us tend to have an agenda. So going and seeking the information.
Yeah.
And then you're like, I love under the desk news.
Me too.
Girl.
I love her.
You, girl.
I love her. I'm like, trust everything she says.
I know, right? Well, and that's the thing. AI cannot give us sensation and like that spark of human curiosity. And so I think we really need to focus on the things that make us human, be as human as humanly possible. It's so Age of Aquarius, right?
I know.
We're showing up as these like little robots and thinking outside the box, but it is very like beyond the 3D and holographic.
And I think being as human as humanly possible and finding truth. One thing that I'm really pushing for this year is Skillshare. Skillshare for the sake of sharing skill, not for money, not for clout, not for nothing. Come over and I'll teach you how to bake this thing. Come over and I'll teach you guys how to, like, for example, which I got to send you the thing for next month, where I'm going to do like an Oracle deck thing. Where It's like, not for money, just show up and bring a snack.
Yeah.
And I'm going to teach you how to connect in this way and do that. Darren did one for like making fire cider. So that way everyone can take care of their immune system. Like, how can we find our truth, something we know, hopefully something that's been passed down so it hasn't been like mucked up by what the fuck is going on, and share it with people, whether that be via the internet or in person, because we need to come back. It's exactly what you said before. It's this, I've been here before, but it's new to me. We need to go back to...
Very Pleiadian.
Starseeds are coming in heavy 2026, and I'll get to that. But we need to come back to our roots, our like I don't even know how to say it, but just like my year, I'm like, homestead, baby. Like, how do I take care of myself and my neighbors and my loved ones and not have to rely on systems? And if I have to rely on systems, may I be clear-minded enough to think of new systems that aren't just playing on the old, but are completely new, that serve the greater good, that serve all, that is equitable. Like, that is going to be the new truth. As much as we're uncovering truths, ancient truths, I think it's more about finding new truths than being like, well, who did this in the political sphere? You know what? They're all trash. They're all trash. So stop trying to fucking uncover it, because they're just going to lie anyway, and focus on what you want to bring. What is the new truth?
Yeah. I do want to quickly touch on something I had said last episode about the whole spirit animal premise. And I'm like, why am I talking about this? I think there are more important elements to the story that need to be addressed. And I encourage you to do your own research on how the colonizer whites have treated indigenous people. But what really I think is coming through strongly for me is how many women are disappearing, how many indigenous women are being abducted and or murdered, or what is happening to them. What is happening to them? I came across this remote viewer recap of what she saw, and she was showing kind of like beyond the ice wall, right? Like, and of course, I really fully realize how Looney Tunes some of this sounds, but anything's possible these days, right, folks? This like soul siphoning process where they're basically taking humans, abducting them, sucking out their souls, and genetically altering them. And if you look at especially celebrities today, like their eyes, they're so soulless. And part of me is like, did they like escape out and get a body double, a clone or something like that? But going back to why indigenous women are being kidnapped and or murdered, or their souls are siphoned, or whatever the case may be, it's because their genetic lineage serves a really significant purpose here. And we need that diversity, and we need, and not diversity in like, you know, culture, but genetically, it is a tactic to control, and to whitewash the fuck out of the people living on this stolen land. And what am I doing here? Like what am I doing with a platform where I'm not talking about things like this? If you know me personally, you know I'm going to bring up shit like this. And I have played small because I've been really nervous on how to use my voice in this capacity. And I think the spirit animal topic last time was sort of this like gateway opening of like, no, that's not what you're meant to talk about. You need to talk about some of the injustices. And that's why I'm saying, like, do your own research, make yourself aware of what's going on. I don't have a solution right now on what to do other than be aware. Like, what can we do? I'm all ears. And that's the other thing. I'm like, maybe we wouldn't talk about what we're doing, but I think we all live in our own little bubbles. And I think sometimes you're just not made aware of what's happening from the grander scale of humanity as a whole and the genetic manipulation that has been happening since the inception of us in these human forms. So I want to bring light to how important it is to protect diversity of genetics. And that's people of all colors, even the whites. But
I agree 100%. I do think it has been within human history for a really long time to like play the genetic game and try to have one race. And I think it has to do with thinking outside of humanitarianism and into galactic things at play. I think it is because, and I'm not even going to sit here and like, I don't even feel the need to like point fingers of like these people or like these beings or these beings, but just there are beings who have been in control of humanitarian order, and they feel that they have and they require a certain level of power through consciousness, through energy, so therefore breed the perfect food. It's the same way we do with fucking animals. I mean, you hype them up with hormones, you inbreed until you get the fucking perfect dog, until you get the perfect meat on a cow, and then you just keep breeding that gene, that DNA, and it's killing us. Like, look at it as a physical sense. Look at what our meat and our food is doing to us because we're trying to get the absolute perfect thing instead of diversity. And I think it is really important to note that specifically women are missing. When you look at these detention centers, what are you seeing? Men. Rooms and rooms of men. Where are the women? And I'm not saying that's every detention center, but most of them are just gone.
And by detention center, we mean concentration camps.
Yes. And that's why things like sterilization, like all that is not like horrific, a far truth.
Horrific.
It's right here because they are trying. Like, I almost feel like it's been happening on a smaller scale for so long. Yeah, we've had our spikes in history. But I think because we've inched so close as a consciousness to like remembering, I don't even want to say understanding at all, remembering what's going on, it's like threat level midnight. They're like, we got to just start snatching the full body. We can't be working just in the energetic field anymore. Like, we got to start, or I shouldn't say start. We have to continue to oppress and kill and dismantle these groups of people, and they don't have time to cover it up anymore because they need to move fucking fast. And as much as that's extremely scary, there is a little seed of hope in me that's like, that means that we're doing something. There's something that we're doing that's making them scared enough that they have to behave that way, which is making it so much harder on us, which sucks. And it's scary and it's terrible.
We're like, we want to live our soft girl lives. And then we're like, meanwhile, we're under galactic war.
Yeah.
And that's what we're really here to do.
Yeah. But I do feel we're on the precipice. I do feel that all this destruction was for something. Not the people's lives. I mean the destruction of people breaking away from systems and illusions and narratives that are false. I don't mean the destruction of humanity.
And no longer feeding the fear.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's so much talk about a civil war taking place, and I'm like,
it is. It already is. I don't know what people are talking about. It is.
And
it
then
is.
even
they cut off our health insurance. They cut off food. They cut off education. They cut off housing. They cut off literally everything. And they're using media tactics to point us towards each other that people are doing mass shootings. People are assassinating. So I don't know what people are, and I'm not blaming people because I get it. They're fueling you, but we're in a civil war, baby. It's here. So that's why we were saying last year it's time to do something about it because it's already here. Sorry.
And the one thing that you can do is regulate your nervous system, live from a place of integrity, and not feed this chaos.
Yes.
And not feed into the divisive nature. Stop pointing fingers and look within. And it's so hard because you want to play the game of right and wrong, and that is still continuing to feed that narrative.
Yep.
What it really comes down to is it being a collective dysregulation event with information warfare, not tactical ground. We're not, we are, whatever, in some capacity. But a lot of information warfare.
Mm-hmm.
Identity fragmentation is another way to look at it, is that there's no way for us to be unified if we are identifying as something, if we have a common enemy, right? Whatever. I'm like, does that bullet make sense?
Wait, hold on. Can we stay at that bullet a minute? So I'm seeing it also as twofold. What was the term you used?
Identity fragmentation.
Yeah, I feel that on an individual level where when we have, and I think this is a long game. People forget that it's not just 2025. It's not just since 2016. This has been going on for a long ass time, forever. But when we started to introduce more hard labels, we fragment ourselves from the other pieces of what we are, right? So they're like, oh, why don't you label yourself as ADHD or OCD or on the autism spectrum? And I'm not saying these things aren't helpful. We've talked about labels a lot, but labels being introduced as a way to segregate parts of ourselves. And the identity fragmentation of literally keeping different cultures separated, only being used like in an appropriation or in making fun of, so we don't actually have access to like learning from them and like having access to the medicine that they can offer, and having this integration of light and frequency and DNA, and having that blend and that beauty and mix. That fragmentation also happened. And then you also have the fragmentation of the mind just being overstimulated and overwhelmed. I love that term.
And to add to that, we're generally speaking very exhausted, very distrustful, very overstimulated. It's really hard to check out. That's why everyone's talking about going analog, right? We're so overstimulated with information. And the thing is, the information is not even coming through as clear facts or even shared narratives, where it's like this willingness that we give to share our attention that drains us. And the other thing I wrote here is, the moment you stop seeing other people as human, you become usable by systems that profit from chaos.
Ooh.
And that's really what's happening. Even if it doesn't seem like, you're not paying to use Instagram, but you're consuming all of this information. You're being overstimulated.
And I think this like how I integrated 2025 made me realize that when we're ingesting so much so quickly, there's no integration. 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 Like you're scrolling, you get this video, and then the second it's done, or the second you're done with it for your attention span, you scroll and you're into something else. There's not a pause. There's not like a breath of like, well, let me actually take that stimuli and process it in my body.
Yeah.
We're just piling stimuli over stimuli over stimuli over stimuli until we crash and our body tries to process all of it, and it makes no fucking sense because all of it is disjointed because it's from different media outlets, it's from different sources, some of it is fake, and your body is just like, what the fuck even is this?
Yeah.
Which is why body regulation, rest, and integration is so fucking important. And I think that is still the theme of January. So I'm going to keep saying it, don't fucking rush.
I also want to touch on one more thing when it comes to the divisive nature of taking a side here. I think that every time you're saying they deserve it, or they're evil, they're stupid, it is a soft recruitment for more of the warfare that we're talking about here.
Yeah. And I think that point is really, really hard.
It is.
When we see people hurting children in many facets of the word, and I'm not even going to get into it.
Yeah.
How can we not say you deserve it? You're the worst. You're evil. How can we not say that? But as I've said in the past, everyone is working from their space of good and bad. So they think they're doing good because they want one race. So for them, it's good, right? So when we start to sit there and go, you're bad, I'm good, then we're like you're saying, we're perpetuating that chaos.
I really do think that the future is being decided by those who can remain in their integrity and be embodied when there's so much uncertainty and conflict, and not allowing those with the loudest voices to be the ones controlling the narrative any longer.
Mm-hmm.
It's the ones who have a regulated nervous system and remain calm through the chaos, who will really be the wayfinders and the path showers, the light bearers. And so I strongly encourage you, if you feel like you don't know what to do, regulate your nervous system, baby.
That's step one. And that brings me to what I wanted to share next, which,
perfect,
as it always does. 2025 was a very earth year, gritting on the earth, ripping up the roots, seeing what's unseen, unveiling everything, down in the fucking gutters. 2026, I feel, is the whole year for me, my understanding of reading the energy is it's a breath year. It's a settling into the body year. And that doesn't mean that we don't take action. That doesn't mean that things won't happen. That doesn't mean that changes, but that it's going to be a lot of checking out the new skin, new things dropping in and being like, well, this has never been on earth before. What is that? And a piece of that is because you know how I feel about 2027 open contact. And I feel that there's going to be a lot more happening in our solar system, a lot more in the physical sense where people are going to be like, oh shit, there's more UFOs, there's more anomalies happening, to kind of prepare us for this totally chill open contact 2027. But I also think that it is bringing new frequencies that have either never been on Earth or haven't been on Earth in a long time. And it's going to be a lot of what is this little nugget here? I've never felt this before. I've never seen the world this way before. A lot of vibration is going to be happening this year. And when I was channeling this morning, when I really locked in, I was like, okay, so you're going to be seeding this for us. You're going to be helping lay a new foundation, which is going to help us think outside the box, because it's going to be things that we would never even think of because we only had a limited capacity of frequency, and now it's expanded, right? I'm starting to think of it, ascension, as expansion as opposed to like going up. So we just have more room, more capacity to read more. So they're going to be like, cool, here's this energy. And you're going to be like, wow, that gave me a new idea. I never thought that we can run the government this way, or no government, or whatever the fuck we think of. But they said with this new energy, it's going to be a slow roll before 2027 because it's going to be a lot on the body. And they said, taking care of the nervous system. They said, taking care of the physical body, taking care of those 5 bodies, right? The 5 koshas. How do I make sure, whether that be in a more routine or ritual way or just intuitive day by day, how am I going to fuel my body so I am the healthiest? So as these energy comes in, right? And we're really in the year of the fire horse. I'm seeing, I said this to you the other day, like a factory. They come in, the fire horse transmutes it, you metabolize it, you're like, cool, I got it, and now I got an energy boost to keep running in this direction, or I got a new map to like figure out like which direction to go, whatnot. But if your body isn't healthy enough, you're not going to be able to run that. And a piece of that is the nervous system, because we process a lot of this vibration through the nervous system, through our body.
Yo, Tara knows this, but over the break, I totally had like a guttural reset, and I felt like my entire microbiome was going through a giant purge and reset. And so I kind of want to give you a heads up in case you start to have some strange symptoms. And we all want to, self-diagnose these days because the medical system is expensive, but it's okay. Or I don't want you to feel crazy like I sometimes feel crazy. Like I want to validate you if you're going through something like this where it's not in medical books sometimes, the energetics and the upgrades and the downloads and the expansiveness. It hurts. It really hurts.
But I also feel like...
And then it feels good.
It hurts, but it doesn't have to be like excruciating. You know what I mean?
Well, it's guttural. Yeah, it sucks,
but I feel like there's levels to it depending on like
totally
how prepared your body is. Like I feel like 2025, I said at the beginning, was global chaos, independent liberation. And as I talk to people who are reflecting on 2025, they're like, wow, I really did just come out of some shit. Mm-hmm. And some people were like, it was one of the best years of my life. And I can hold the duality of globally, it was trash.
Yeah.
But I've learned so much. I grew so much. That's where I feel like I'm like, God, I fought through so much, but in like a really gentle way that like, that was one of the most abundant and greatest years of my life.
Yeah.
For others, they were like, that was the hardest year of my life. And I think either way, we came out liberated into something new. And I'm not saying that I'm better. I think it's just my part of the cycle that it was easier right now. Trust me, I'll have a time where it's not.
Yeah.
But I think it's similar to what we were saying with the spiral, and there's a precipice where you can choose, and then there's the jump, which is you need more momentum. I feel like this integrating into February and then taking the start of the fire horse year to really use that energy, the passion, the determination to get yourself healthy in all sense of the word is just going to make it a little bit easier when change is happening, when new energy is coming in, when these upgrades are coming. So maybe you're not like, some people may feel keeled over because that's the cycle they're in right now and they have to purge. Some may just feel like a twist in their stomach where they're just like, this feels a little different. So they're just really emphasizing like, it's already going to be a little tricky on the body. So like, try to eat good, drink water, rest, exercise, like do what you can so that way it's not terrible on you.
It's always an invitation to take care of yourself.
Oh, every single time, which makes me roll my eyes sometimes. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, totally.
Again.
I'm curious if you have any other overarching themes for the year for yourself.
For 2026 or for the collective or for myself, I should say.
For yourself.
Yes. Hold on. Let me see. Okay. Can I share a couple more things for the collective, and then I'll share more about like my personal year that came up. So I asked, what's the theme for 2026? And the theme was, I pulled an herb deck and it was rosemary, ancient memory. So again, coming back to the lineage, coming back to your ancestors, remembering and sharing out, working like our ancestors where we would all gather together and be in community. And so I asked, how can
I'm going to community.
how can the collective best work their light together? And I got share your voice, right? So it was all about, I'm just going to read it directly. We hold a truth deep within us that longs to be expressed, sculpted for lifetimes of a voice of your soul that is like no other. It carries wisdom that can only be gained through history and growth. When you share your voice, you unlock something in the universe. The more you speak, the clearer the message gets. There has been no better time in history to rise up and speak your truth and share your soul's voice. The world needs your unique tone in order to harmonize. So I think that really comes back to, again, 2026 being about finding your truth, sharing your truth with whoever, small community, the community we do with you guys. I thought a lot about us. I was like, again, we don't get fucking paid. We do this out of our own processing, but also like to offer something to the community, to say, this is my voice that I get to speak into. And I thought a lot about how like singing and chanting and humming are so physically healing to the body and so physically healing to the fields that we all exist within. So, you know, we're talking about get our body right. One way you can do it besides physically is by singing or speaking to someone or laughing or chanting or shouting.
Or just humming that vibration. It's so good for your pineal gland.
Yeah, creating that vibration. So that was kind of like my last little, okay, 2026, here's what you got going as a collective. For myself, funny enough, I got Lemon Balm, which is nurturing. So taking care of yourself, tending to yourself. And then the light card was transformation on a cellular level. So very aligned with what's going on collectively. So I'm going to really focus. I feel like a skill share is a really easy way to do that. Like find something that I can teach others or do with others, even if they know how to do, and put my voice to it. You know, like actually be there and lead others and like teach others with my voice is really kind of what I got. So yeah, I think for both myself and collectively, it's about continuing in this next month to release and reset and like know who I am right now, be in this space of in between, and then stepping forward, like continue to nurture this new, I'm a baby. I'm a little baby again. You know, like we're all a little baby. We all went to the next spiral or the next octave on the piano. And so just like giving ourselves a lot of grace while we're like figuring it out, especially as new energies coming in. And the more that I learn, the more that I speak, the clearer it gets, the next step I need to know.
Stop. That was like one of the quotes I wanted to share that came through, that you don't need to be louder, you need to be clearer.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I don't need to shout so 5 million people need to hear. I just need to speak to the 5 people in front of me.
Yeah.
And let that be clear and potent. What about you? Do you have any personal intentions?
My whole thing is no longer playing small. And
did you hear that? He's like, hell yeah, girl, live it up, live it up, live it up, live it up.
Oh my gosh. I think for me, the idea of playing small comes from a place of, if I play small, then I'm safe. And so this really, and if you've been listening to a while, I've really been challenged with how do I feel safe? Both energetically, spiritually, and physically here as a woman. And I can no longer risk playing small because I feel like it's more detrimental to me at this point. And I think it really comes down to me being afraid of my own power, because when I really do show up and I make myself visible, people know it and look at me. And sometimes I'm just like, I don't want to be seen, right? Like that whole dance of like being invisible, right? Playing small to be invisible. And I just, now's my time. I'm like, y'all ready for me now, right? Like, yeah. So using my voice, which I'm forever grateful for, because sometimes I feel silly being on here and I'm like, what am I even talking about? Like, am I making an impact? Like, oh, yeah. Even if it is a little ripple out into the world. I hope it is a little ripple, you know?
Yeah, I don't want to be the tsunami for somebody else. I've done that enough.
You are a tsunami, huh?
But that's funny. The card that I pulled for January was the past. And I forget who the goddess is, but it talked about how not only like leaving the past behind, but also like acknowledging what it gave you. And she literally gave that example of not speaking up and not using your voice because it kept you safe. And like honoring that and being like, thank you. I did need to do that.
Yeah.
And that was okay. And that was beautiful. And I was safe because I did that. So thank you for holding my voice, because it kept me safe. But I no longer need to do that.
Yeah.
So very aligned there as well.
Love it.
Love it. All right. I feel like we've said a lot. We're back.
Wait, the other thing, and I know we're not there yet with the year of the horse, but the idea of like the phrase beating a dead horse, I feel like that ripple that of the tail is so you don't have to beat a dead horse in the next year.
Oh, hell
so I wanted to just quickly add that real, because it was like, I'm like, why is this coming through for me? But I'm like,
no, that is so accurate, because what people do is they rush January 1st. They're like, that's it, new me. I didn't even think about the old me, but it's new me. And then something comes back, and then the energy of the horse is going to be like, oh, so that's what we're taking? Let's go, baby.
Yeah.
Let's make that the main factory, product we make here. Because and I'll get more into that.
The glue. I'm like, we're getting morbid
here. The glue?
Because like that.
Yeah, that's not what I was talking about.
I know.
Okay.
I'm microdosed. I'm caffeinated. My brain's going to some strange places right now. That means it's time to go have a little fun.
We'll talk more about the year of the horse next month.
For sure.
Right before the start of the year of the horse. So.
Yeehaw.
We love you.
So much.
Bye.
Bye.